What is up, everyone? Welcome to It's Been a Week. I'm your host, Ben McDonald, and this is your weekly dose of whatever the hell just happened. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to It's Been a Week. So, have you guys seen this story that's going around about the people that had the dog and it passed away? So they adopted another dog and then they did some kind of DNA test, and it turns out that the dog they adopted is the father to their dog that passed away. Have you guys seen this? So people sent this to me on Instagram, and I was like, oh, that's so cute. That's so sweet. And then I heard about it on the radio, and everyone's talking about this like crazy one in a billion million chance that you like adopt a dog. They started to note they adopted a dog when their dog died, and then they were like, wow, it acts just like our other dog, it looks just like our other dog, and it had like certain traits that I guess were similar. And it happens to be the father of the dog that passed away, which I got questions here. So I don't want to rain on this parade. I don't want to be negative on like this cute little happy story. But if their dog passed away, like, what are the chances that the father of the dog is still alive? Like, wouldn't that dog be even older? And also, at what point did you collect DNA from your dead dog so that you had that on hand in case you were to get another dog to compare the DNA? Because like, okay, so you get this new dog and you're like, we need to get a DNA sample, which I don't even know how you go about doing that. But okay, you get your DNA sample. How do you compare it to your dog that's dead? Unless you've stored its DNA. Like there's some holes in this story, because I'm like, where do you, I love my animals, but I don't like swab their DNA and keep them in the freezer like Walt Disney in case of, be able to bring them back. So what? How does that happen? And who do you call? Like, can you just call a vet and be like, hey, so we need to get some DNA samples of our dogs? Like, is there a 23andMe for dogs? How does this work? So I love the story. I think it's so cute, but I'm questioning this a little bit. Like, what? So we'll see how that unfolds. When I was starting this podcast, there was a part of me that I was like, oh God, what am I going to talk about every week? Like, am I going to run out of things to talk about? And you know what? Here's the deal. Bullshit happens every single week that there's always something to talk about. This week, so I recently got a new car, right? Love my car. And I'm driving it, and I'm driving, we're in Texas. So I'm driving behind some big truck, and a giant rock comes and goes ding right on my windshield. And I was like, son of a bitch. But I go out and I look around and I'm like, oh, there nothing happened. Okay, we're good. And then a few days later, I noticed in the bottom corner of the windshield, there was like a little chip. And I was like, okay, so it did do something. So called my insurance company, good old State Farm, and we're like, hey, and I'm going to get yelled at because AJ's the one that called. So AJ called. But he calls the insurance company and they're like, okay, well, your windshield is fully covered, so no big deal. But because your car is so new and there's like sensors and there's so much computers and technology and shit, they're like, we can't come out to you to fix the windshield. You have to bring it into the shop because they have to do some calibration, which I don't know what that means, but okay. So they tell us, like, here are places you can go. Just hang tight. They'll be reaching out to you. And we're like, okay, great. So it's like been a week that goes by and we don't hear anything. So we call them, nothing. It's been like another week. And then we call again and we're like, look, it's been 2 weeks now. Like, we need to get this chip fixed. And by the way, the chip has now turned into a chip with like a little crack. Like it's starting to grow. And they're like, okay, no big deal. And then we finally get something scheduled. Well, by the time this thing is scheduled, the crack is now halfway up the windshield. And apparently, if your crack is over the size of a dollar bill, now you need a windshield replacement. They can no longer just fix the little chip. So if they would have gotten back to us, we could have just gotten this fixed right away. But now we need a whole new windshield. And they're like, okay, well, we can only get the windshields from Audi. So we need to, order the windshield and get the windshield in. And I was like, can't we just bring the car to Audi and have them just do it? And they were like, yeah, you can do that, but you need to pay for it out of pocket and then we'll reimburse you. And I'm like, no. Because I know how this shit's going to go. We're going to bring the car to Audi. They're going to fix the windshield along with everything else. And there's going to be all these, shit that goes with it. And the insurance company is going to be like, oh no, we'll cover the insurance, but we're not covering XYZ and all this shit. And I'm going to get a bill. I knew it. So I was like, you know what? Okay, order the windshield. We'll bring it to this place. Do your thing. It takes them like a week and a half to get the windshield in from Audi. Now the crack has gone. The little tiny, it was like the size of a dime. The little chip is now turned into a crack that is all the way to the top of the windshield. So we're like, okay, windshield replacement. They're like, bring it in. You need to leave it here for the day. Drop it off at 8 a.m. and you can have it by the end of the day. And I was like, okay, great. So AJ and I on our way to the gym, we drop the car off and the lady goes, oh, this will be done by like 10:30 like a.m. Like, no worries. You'll be. So we're like, oh, okay, good. We'll go work out. We'll run a few errands, be back to pick up the car. Didn't hear anything. So it was like around 10:30. So I called and they were like, oh no, the guy didn't get in here until 9:30. So like, it's not done yet. And I was like, okay. So we go home and now it's like 3, 4 in the afternoon. So I called back and I said, hey, I just want to check on my car. Like, it was only supposed to take a couple hours. The guy got in there at 9:30. Is it done? And the lady goes, well, the keys are up here. And I said, okay, well, what does that mean? Is it done? And she goes, well, I would assume. And I said, okay. So, and she goes, and the car is backed into the parking spot. I said, okay. So she goes, yeah, it's done. Come get it. So AJ drives me up there. We pull up. I see my car sitting there, giant crack in the windshield. I'm like, it has not been fixed. So I walk in and I'm like, hi, I'm here to pick up my car, but the windshield is still cracked. And she's like, oh, okay, well, let me try to figure out what's going on. She's talking to someone. They have no idea what the fuck's going on. Apparently, we brought this place it's called Caliber Collision. And then the glass is Caliber Glass. And apparently they're sister companies and they're not the same company. They made that very clear. They're sister companies. So the lady finally is trying to figure out, she gets a manager and they're like trying to find the glass guy. And they're like, oh, the glass guy has left. He went home for the day. And I'm like, okay, so what's happening? And they're like, well, we don't know. And I'm like, well, who the fuck can figure out what's going on? So finally they're like calling and texting the glass guy and they're like, he's not answering. Well, he wasn't answering because he was in the back in the shop fixing a different car. So he comes in and he goes, hey, I'm so sorry. Because the Audi is so new, we need some special tool to do your windshield and we don't have that tool. And I'm like, okay, well, when the fuck are you going to get the tool? And he goes, we're hoping to get it like by tonight or tomorrow. So we will call you to reschedule. I'm so sorry. I mean, they were nice. Like they can only do so much, but he was like, we will call you. And I said, okay, so I don't have to call back. You guys are going to call me. Like, and they said, yes. And they said, our manager is going to be calling you today, our district manager. And I said, okay, great. Didn't hear anything. The next day, I don't hear anything. So that afternoon I call and I'm like, hey, I asked if I needed to call back and you guys said no. And you said that the manager would be calling me and no one called me. And the lady goes, oh, well, you had an appointment for this morning and you didn't show up. I go, well, no one fucking told me I had an appointment this morning. What are you talking about? And then she goes, well, we're Caliber Collision, not Caliber Auto or not Caliber Glass. So you need to call them. And I said, okay, well, the car comes to your building. You're the one I check in with. You're the receptionist. You're the one that gives me my keys. So and she goes, yeah, but you need to call Caliber Glass. And I said, okay, do you have their number? And she goes, well, you can Google it. And I'm like, this dumb bitch. I'm like, okay, I just hung up on her. I was like, I can't with her. So I get a hold of Caliber Glass and they're like, oh, the manager's in a meeting and he'll be calling you back. And I was like, right, okay. So the manager calls me back and he's like, so sorry for the, miscommunication and blah, 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 blah. We have the tool. We will get you in whenever you want. We will get this done. And I said, okay, how about tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.? We'll just do the same thing. And he goes, great. Yes, done. We got you down. The next morning, I drop the car off. It's the same bitch at the front desk. And who, by the way, there's just certain people where it's like, you should maybe be working back of house. Like maybe you need to do some paperwork. You need to do some filing. You should not be answering the phones or greeting people because you're a fucking bitch. And so I give her the keys and I'm like, okay, so do we know what time this will be done? And she goes, yeah, same as before. It should be done by like 10:30. And I said, okay. So we go to our workout class. We go run some errands again that we didn't even need to run, but we're like, let's just kill some time. 10:30 comes. I call him and she goes, oh no, he hasn't even gotten started on it yet. And I go, okay, great. So we go home. Haven't heard anything from them all day. So they close at 5 p.m. and I have not heard anything. It is now 4:38. So I'm like, they close in 20 minutes. We live like 20 minutes from the place. So I'm like, I am not leaving my car at this place overnight. So I call them and they go, yeah, so we got your new windshield put on, but unfortunately, we need another tool for the calibration. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, Audi has some special tool. And I go, here's the deal. I go, is this your first time ever fixing an Audi? I go, I don't like, why were these tools not in place? Why did you not figure out what you needed, all these fucking tools, before I brought the car in? He goes, yeah, we had to rent a tool from them. And I'm like, okay, look, I don't know who's at fault. Like when you go to rent the tool from Audi, maybe Audi should be like, oh, FYI, you're also going to need this one. I don't know. But also this place, you fix windshields. That's your job. That is your service. You should know what tools are required to fix fucking cars. So he's like, you can come pick up. I said, I'm not leaving my car there overnight in your like outdoor parking lot in your shithole. So I'm coming to get my car. And he goes, you can get it. He goes, but none of your cameras are going to work. Your sensors aren't going to work. The self-driving isn't going to work. All this shit's not going to work because nothing's calibrated. He goes, but it's totally safe to drive, but you need to like drive the car. And I'm like, okay. So I pick the car up and it's that same bitch at the front. And she's like, have a great day. And I was like, I can't. I'm like, can you please go floss your teeth and get a new conditioner? Cause like, whatever. So the manager calls me back and he's like, we're working on getting the tool and we will call you as soon as we get it and we'll get you in. And I'm like, okay, is this going to be another day drop off thing? Or is this going to be like a 20-minute in and out? And he goes, 20-minute in and out. We just have to calibrate it, which again, I don't understand what the calibration is, but I'm not a mechanic, so whatever. So I have yet to hear from them. So we'll see when my car is getting calibrated. But at this time, I am driving it around and everything seems to be working, actually, which is weird because he said nothing is going to work, but everything is working. But I'm definitely not trusting like the self-drive and some of the features because I'm like, I don't want this thing to like go rogue and go off the road. And that was my windshield drama. So have you guys seen those people where you can tell they've had like way too much work done? Right? We all know those types of people. Well, I think that getting work done on your face can be amazing when you do it in moderation and when you do it correctly. Okay, that's the key point to take away here. Today, I'm joined by my friend Laura. She's the only person I've ever let inject my face. We're going to talk all things Botox and filler and skincare because let's face it, no one wants to get old, no one wants to age, but it's like it's the reality of life. But to take care of your skin and to take care of it like correctly, it can be a little overwhelming. It can be a little intimidating. There's so many different products out there. There's so many different, you walk into a Ulta or Sephora and it's like, where do you start? Where do you even begin? And if you're anything like me, I have a very obsessive personality where I am either all on board and I'm going to buy 37 products, or I've completely fallen off the wagon and I'm lucky if I'm washing my face. There's no in between. So I'm currently on the wagon. I have got my Botox. I'm using my retinol. I'm using all my cleansers and skincare and trying to look good. So I want to pass some of that information along to you guys. So let's get into it. Okay, everyone. So my next guest is the only person on earth that I've ever let put a needle in my face. She is a nurse practitioner and aesthetic expert, Miss Laura Fischer.
Oh,
Welcome to the podcast. How's your week been?
my week is good. Just kind of hanging out a little bit, worked a little, beached a little, enjoying the sunshine.
Speaking of, we're going to talk about sunshine because I feel like we're going to be talking about SPF and all the things we need to be doing to take care of our skin, which I'm so funny about my skincare. I'm either all in or I'm not on. I'm either on the wagon or I'm off.
Yeah. A lot of people are like that. I would ask you just out of curiosity if you're like that with like exercise stuff or like overall like health and well-being, like kind of like fluctuate. I think most people do that.
I mean, I'm pretty consistent with working out because I'm addicted to like my spin classes and that stuff. But for some reason with my
Hmm.
skincare, I get like I'll buy 27 products and it's a 37 step system and I'm all about it.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then, I don't know, I think I go on vacation, I fall off the wagon, and then it's like it takes me a minute to get back onto it.
I feel like that's honestly understandable. I feel like most people are like that. I don't recommend swinging from nothing to 37 products. I'm like, let's do baby steps because it really is a marathon. It's like a long-term thing. And that's one of the main points of skincare is like there's no overnight fix. It really is like just like patience, commitment. I compare it a lot to exercise regimens or like you just got to give it some time and kind of ease in. And there's no right fit for everyone. So everyone's a little bit different.
Right, it's like start with, like, a cleanser, a moisturizer, and some sunscreen,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Simple steps. Yes. And then maybe I'd say the next thing, like throwing in a retinol, is one of my favorite things to do after that for people that are like super low key. I'm like, if you could give me one more night product, it would be a prescription retinol, like a retin-A, tretinoin, or it'd be a medical grade retinol. Just
Not
baby
just the
steps.
stuff you can buy over the counter.
Yeah, so I mean, over the counter stuff is going to be fine for like cleansers, moisturizers, just your simple skincare is fine over the counter. I think our more like active ingredient products, things that are actually going to transform and change your skin, are usually going to be medical grade. And I know that's a little snobby, and people are like, she's trying to sell me something. It really is. The medical grade products are clinically researched, they're studied, they actually show effective changes. They're a little bit more irritating as well. So that's why you typically need to, it's prescription or medical grade, go through a doctor's office, a dermatology office, med spa, or prescription. And I try to be reasonable with people because not everyone wants to buy super expensive medical grade products. But if I try to find like a sweet spot, like, okay, buy this over the counter, drugstore, it's fine. It's not just not going to transform your skin. But the retinols, for the most part, that you find at a drugstore like Sephora, they're very watered down. They're very, very mild. They're typically not going to be effective enough to actually see a change.
Right, so that's why you have to get I mean, that's why you get the good stuff.
Yeah, that's why you get the good stuff.
And I think for me, like, being an actor and, I think just being a gay man who cares how I look, skincare is, like, so important, and you see people that have, like, spent years out in the sun and have not done proper
Mhm.
skincare, and it's like,
Yeah.
I do not want to be that.
I know. None of us
I
do.
know.
Well, some people do. And that's where I try to be like very non-judgmental about it. Is like there's not a sweet spot for everyone. Not everyone needs it. I love when people come at me with that. Is like, you don't need Botox or you don't need laser. I'm like, I'm not gonna fight you on that. No one needs dessert. No one needs mascara. If it makes you happy, then you want to invest in it, then go for it. But if you wake up in the morning wrinkly and sunspots all over and you're confident, then more power to you. I'm a little envious of that because that would not be me.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying is correct, you know what I mean? You don't need it, and some people are like, they just wanna age naturally and age gracefully, and I'm like, I'm all about that too. I do think you should age properly, but I wanna look the best
Hmm.
I can while I'm aging.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah, so let's get into this a little bit. For me, you're the only person who's ever poked my face with Botox,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
because I remember when I first came into your office with AJ, I mean, this was a long time ago, and I had never had Botox, and first of all, I looked at your skin and I was like, "Holy shit." And then I remember just how, like, you with AJ, you were so diligent, and it was so I mean, honestly, it was so many pokes, but it was because it was such little baby amounts all over, and he still looked natural, he still looked great. So I remember when I came to you and I was like, "Look, I'm an actor, I still need to move my face, I can't be completely frozen," and you were like, "Got you," you know?
Absolutely. I think it's a big fear of the unknown. I don't think people, because there is a little bit of judgment behind it. So, not a lot of people sit down at the dinner table and say, oh, I just got my Botox done. Some people do, and that's fine. But I think there's this misconception of like a Botox face. And then we just jump to these images of people that have done way more than just Botox or way more than like skincare and lasers. And we think we're going to always look like stiff, overdone, but it's very customizable. A lot of my patients don't want to to be frozen. I think that's a huge misconception. Some people do, and that's fine, and that's their sweet spot, but it's a dose dependent medication. So if you want it to be a little bit stronger, we can use a higher dose. If you want it to be lower, we can do a lower dose, like just like any other medication. And I am super meticulous. So I'm easygoing about things. And then when I get in your face, like I will be marking, I'll have you do the faces over and over again. We are talking like millimeters and we get to be a little obsessive, which is fun for me. But yes, there's absolutely a lot that goes into play to making sure it's perfect for your face.
And just to put this into context for everyone, Laura works in Beverly Hills. So she's working in like the capital of looks and skincare and people wanting to, the latest and the greatest and the best. We are not talking about someone like, I'm doing a Botox party at my neighbor's house and everyone's
Mhm.
getting their face poked. Like you are a true artist with that needle.
Yes. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
let's talk about what's the difference, because I know there's Botox, there's Dysport, there's
Hmm.
filler. Like,
Yeah.
let's walk through some of the different products and like the benefits, I guess, of the different things that they can do.
Yeah, so the wrinkle relaxers are like your neurotoxins. It's Botox, Dysport, Jeuveau, Daxxify, Xeomin. There's been some new ones as well. They're all in the same drug class, kind of like Advil and Aleve. So they all reduce muscle movement so we can treat lines that are caused by muscle movement. Not all lines are caused by muscle movement. So your frown, your forehead, wrinkles around the eyes, we can also do it for like it helps prevent sweating, underarm sweating, teeth grinding, chin issues, muscles that pull the corners of the mouth down. Those are all temporary, they wear off. They're pretty much the same. Just some people are going to prefer one versus the other, like Advil and Aleve. Filler, there's different types of filler. I think the word filler gets a bad reputation right off the bat for many reasons. I think we think about like fillers and foods and stuff. It's when we're talking filler, we're mostly talking about a hyaluronic acid gel that's in most of our skincare products. It's in our body naturally. That's reversible, which is really nice to know. Worst case scenario, you can dissolve it. Good for like cheek augmentation, facial balancing, lack of chin. It's a more reversible option than like a chin implant or something surgical. Obviously, lips, just a plumping and pulling in hydration and adding volume to the face. Some fillers are non-reversible, like Sculptra. It's more of what we call a biostimulator. So it builds collagen. It's like kind of planting seeds for grass to grow, building your body's collagen, but with injections. Not dissolvable, not reversible, but kind of a slow, steady, gradual build. And then I lean a lot towards lasers. So I do lasers for like building collagen in the skin, volume, helping address wrinkles, brown spots, all the things along that.
So filler, I think too, is much more, when we see these pictures of people with, these crazy faces and it's too much. Like, well, and again, I'm not saying it's the nurse practitioner that's doing it, but I think there's
Yeah.
people that get addicted to it and they want more, more,
Yeah.
more. And
Hmm.
if you go into a, a office and you're like, give me more, they're going to say, okay, we'll give you, you're asking for that, I
Yes.
think.
Yes. Some people will keep doing it. And ideally, the good people will say no. And it's a spectrum, right? It's like, okay, well, that's your personal choice. You want your lips larger. I personally don't, So I try to be like unbiased. I try to give them my honest opinion. If I think their lips are aging them, or if I think it's appropriate to add lip volume, I'll say yes. If I think it's extremely inappropriate, I've said no a couple times. And you have to phrase that delicately too, is like maybe we just aren't on the same page aesthetic wise or goal wise. If it's reasonable, I'll hear them out, but I do get to say no. And that's where I think that gives me a lot of pride in my field and make sure that I have good values because as much as I would want to take their money, sometimes it's just simply not appropriate and I don't want my name affiliated with it. And so I think it's good to hear no sometimes, especially from aesthetic provider.
Is it similar? So, like, I'm a photographer, and there's certain
Hmm.
times where, I'm doing images, and I'm like, okay, I have to say no, or I have to creatively do something because I'm like, when you go put these images out to the world, my name is attached to them. So there's certain things where I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that because now, even if it's going to look like shit or it looks bad, I'm like, they're going to think that that reflects on me. So is it similar in your field where like you don't want someone to go out there and look completely botched because your name is attached to it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, as cheesy as it sounds, I care about the well being of the person in my chair. So if I think that they are really fixated on a small detail or really fixated on something, I can take a step back and remove myself and look at them from afar. And if I genuinely think it's more of like a mental like fixation or just a hyper fixation on someone, I have that conversation with them and I say, well, I wouldn't have noticed that. And just for perspective, like, I think if we zoom out a little bit, we should address this particular feature to keep you looking youthful with not overdoing any particular feature. So I try to really look out for them. And sometimes, especially through the pandemic, when everyone's laid off and at home and doesn't have anything else to do, they're just staring in the mirror. And like, I do work in Beverly Hills. I think there's this big stereotype, but I try to have a healthy balance between some of it is external tweaks that make us feel good. Some of it is like getting out for a walk, being active, just like stop fixating on it. We all have flaws. We're not perfect. We're not achieving perfection. We just want to have that healthy dose of whatever it takes to enhance your features that makes you feel more confident. And then other than that, just like leaving it alone.
Yeah, and I mean, I lived in LA for a long time. I've seen the entire spectrum of, whether it's plastic surgery, whether it's filler, like and I know you have too. We've seen it all.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
do think it's good that you have that ability to be like, look, I mean, it's almost like you have to become a little bit of a therapist, I feel like, because you have to like kind of walk them off the ledge of like, you're beautiful. Don't worry. You don't need all this.
100%. And we had to watch out for those people. Like, I worked in plastic surgery. Sometimes they would recommend psych consults. Like, if they're like, this is not the solution. And I think hopefully, as medical providers, because I am a nurse and a nurse practitioner at the end of the day, I love light and airy beauty stuff, but I'm here to look out for you. And if I think that we're just like super hyper fixated, I need to be able to have that conversation with you. Because a lot of people, if you have a friend that's really overdone or really chasing something, not a lot of people in their circle feel comfortable saying like, hey, you're really overdoing it, like I think we should stop. So like that is my responsibility, non-judgmental, and it's like your body, your choice, but just to like hear it from an expert, this is what I would recommend. And I'm always like, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. If there's not a solid solution that has minimal risk, is like, oh, this is so straightforward, let's just solve it with this or improve it with this, then let's just not mess with it sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had filler, but the only thing that would make me feel better about it is the fact that you can dissolve it. Like, I would never wanna do
100%.
anything that's so permanent that it's like, you know, because
100%.
and for Botox, Botox does not I feel like there's also this misconception that people think once you get Botox, you have to do it for the rest of your life or you have to do it forever, and it's like, the Botox, if I'm not mistaken, it wears off, like, maybe 4 to 6 months. Everyone's different how they metabolize it. I hope I'm using the correct words here.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
So everyone's body's different, but, like, it does wear off. So if you get to a point where you're like, "I don't wanna do this anymore," you don't have to do it anymore.
Correct. And it kind of makes me laugh in a way. I think most people that do it will keep up with it. I don't think everyone gets obsessed and like loses control. I think people think it's like a gateway drug into the oblivion. You can stop. If you let it wear off, you just go back to your baseline. It kind of makes me laugh because when people who are really nervous that first time, they say, like, if I don't want to do it again, I don't have to, right? And absolutely right. But usually when it wears off, it kind of sells itself, truthfully, which is why it's been such a successful medication. You have that little like, oh, I feel good, I feel confident, I look smoother. And then when it wears off, it kind of you look at it and you see it. And that's usually what gets people to call back in, regardless if they thought they were going to use it long term or not.
For me, yeah, I mean, the second I did, because I was a little skeptic. I'm like, "Do I really need to be doing this? I'm so young," which we're gonna talk about
Hmm.
that in a second. But the second you did it, I think it took like a week maybe for it to really hit its full effect, but it was like, wow. And the only thing that I think is the downside for me is the cost,
Totally.
because it's like, I mean, especially when we're coming in Beverly Hills, but like, it's not like if it's something you're doing every 4 or 5 months, it's not a cheap thing. It's something that you have to invest
Mm,
in, but I think you're
correct.
investing in, the looks of your future and your longevity. So I is it you're gonna go spend $50 on it and it's you're no, it's more expensive than that. But
Mhm.
It's amazing. Like you said, the second it wears off, I was like, "Wait, oh no." It sells
No,
itself.
it absolutely does. Yep.
And I definitely think another misconception for everyone listening is people that are in their 20s or their 30s and they're like, "Oh, I don't have wrinkles. I don't need that." And then it's people that are like, "I'll get that when I'm older." And which I didn't know this until I started coming to you, that Botox really is not something to fix your wrinkles. It's something to prevent your wrinkles.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
really
And I
something
think
you want to
people
jump on.
you want to start it sooner rather than later if you want to be most effective with it. And I do think people have this imagination that pencil Botox is like a pencil eraser. It's not a pencil eraser. Botox helps prevent deep lines from forming. So I use the analogy of like folding a piece of paper over and over and over again. If I've had that piece of paper folded and I try to straighten out, there's still a crease in the paper. I could freeze that muscle at that point, but you still have the lines etched into the skin at rest. So that's a loss of collagen, like a deep loss of collagen in the skin. If I smooth that out, Botox will not erase that line. So your own quote before and after with Botox is moving your face as strong as you can. That movement there is what we're going to reduce, and that is going to reduce the line that's forming in your skin at rest. So, if you're starting to notice lines on your face at rest without making an expression, if you don't care, then obviously leave it alone. If it bothers you, then that's the time to start Botox to at least help prevent those from getting deeper.
So yeah, I think it's not that Botox goes in and like you said, it's not a magic eraser that's going to fill in the gaps. But what Botox does is and again, correct me if I'm wrong, you inject the amount and it's your muscles, it's just kind of paralyzing them so they quit moving for
Correct.
the 4 to 6 months. So the less movement, the less, like you said, your analogy, the more you're squinting your eyes or you're smiling big or you're moving your forehead, the less that's moving you because you can't really move it.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say the word like paralyzed or like can't move it, it's dose dependent, right? So some people have movement still. It's just a lot less movement. It reduces the movement, not necessarily freezes them completely, but they have less of that ongoing action of folding that piece of paper, etching the lines into the skin. So we will prevent the deep lines. That's why most of these, when we look at these celebrities that are like, wow, they look the same, like they look so healthy. Some of that is obviously taking care of their skin. Some of that is preventative Botox where you just catch it early on and you just maintain it to help prevent those deep lines.
So if there is someone that's listening and they're like, "Well, shit, I already have all these wrinkles, so it's too late for me." There's maybe other treatments for them that might not be Botox.
It's definitely not too late. I have some impressive before and afters of people with lines on their face at rest, and then starting some skincare primarily to target wrinkles and getting Botox. If you just give it some time and some patience, those lines will soften. It's not that there's like, oh, there's no chance. Why bother? You're just a little later to the game. We have to do a little bit of catch up. The biggest, most helpful thing to treat lines at rest is laser resurfacing or microneedling, also the retinoid as well, but there are things, it's just the deeper the lines, if the lines are really deep, then it can be like lots of deep laser resurfacing, having some downtime with that, and then also helping prevent it from getting deeper with more Botox.
Okay. And when you do the Botox, because I'm pretty sure there's like three main areas, right? It's like, is it if you're when we're talking about the face at least?
I would say for a beginner, there's three main areas. I get Botox. So upper face between the brows, the glabella that creates the lens that pulls the eyebrows down and in. Forehead muscle, the horizontal lines on the forehead, that's what's lifting the brows. And then the crow's feet around the eyes, that pulls the muscle down as well. So not only can we soften lines, but we can inject places just to help elevate the brows a little bit. So some people don't even have problems with lines. They just want to see if their brows can be non-surgically lifted a little. For us injectors, I wouldn't say three main areas. I would say that's more for like the lay people, the beginners, three main areas. Also injecting the neck bands, the chin, downturned corners of the mouth, masseter muscles. There's lots of other places, but this is for like people that are newer to it. Definitely upper face is where people typically start.
Well, I know for me, naturally, one of my eyebrows sits a little lower than the other one. And you were
Mhm.
able, when you did it, I don't know where you did it, but you injected somewhere, and it like lifted my one eyebrow just slightly, where
Yeah.
then they were like even.
Yeah. I think it's your right eyebrow that's a
Yeah.
little lower.
It's
So
like,
this crow's feet muscle, and again, people are like, I don't have crow's feet. I don't care about crow's feet. That's fine. Totally no problem. But the muscle here pulls the brow down. So by weakening that pull down, it will elevate the tail of the brow just a little bit. That is a very subtle thing. I also think there's this illusion or idea that people are going to get this like dramatic brow lift, like McDonald's eyebrows, like those high arch eyebrows, or like Spock brows. Like that's not really, we're not doing that with Botox. And then some people, just the shape of their eyebrows, like we're not going to take people's flat, normal eyebrow and elevate it. Some of that is like brow shaping. So, yes, just a subtle little lift, just more for a asymmetry correction.
so really, it's much more of a preventative. It's much more of a, longevity. It's much more like just fine tuning. It's not to come out here and get Botox and you're going to look like this plastic surgeon disaster. Right.
Correct. Yes. And it's like if everyone could wear like a little necklace or a badge that says all the treatments they've had done, I think it would be very enlightening for people where they're like, wow, like she just looks so effortlessly nice. And it's like that woman has full face filler, full face Botox, lasers, all the thing. It's just making sure that we don't tip the scale too far and overdo any one feature. It's like I've had my lips filled numerous times. I had teeny tiny lips. I've had filler in my cheeks. I've had laser. I've had full face and neck Botox. But I like to think that I still look natural because I'm not really overdoing any particular one feature.
Are you able to give Botox to yourself?
I am. Yeah.
Really?
I'm a little bit of I have trust issues. So that's where I'm like very meticulous and I have trust issues. Some areas are not easy to inject yourself. I think filler is absolutely something that you should have someone else inject because you can have like blood flow issues. It's like, let's not do something foolish. But Botox for me, when I'm doing it all day long on people, again, the person in the chair is like nervous and it's their face and it's the first time. But Botox for me is kind of like, a teeth cleaning for like a dentist or something. I'm doing it all the time. So I absolutely do inject my neck. I inject between my brows. If I trust someone really well, I will let them inject me. But when I sit down in that chair, I'm just as nervous as anyone else. So some of it's a trust thing.
Right. Well, for anyone out there that is considering it, I will tell you from my experience, at first I was like, oh my God, you're going to be sticking all these needles in my face. Is this going to hurt? It was the easiest thing ever. Like, I remember in your office, you had like a mirror, and I was like, okay, we got to pull the shade down because I didn't want to see. And like now, honestly, like, we could leave the shade up. I wouldn't care. But when you did it, you had like, I think it was like a little tool maybe that was like vibrating on my face. And it's
Yeah.
like, it kind
Yeah.
of distracts you. And then it's like, it's just these tiny little, you guys, I'm telling you, if your fear of Botox has anything to do with the pain or with the needles, it is nothing. Like scratching yourself with your finger hurts more than a Botox needle.
Yeah. It is very, I think I understand where people are coming from because they don't know what size needle, they don't know how many pokes. There's a lot of that fear of the unknown. If I had a dollar for every time that someone said, wow, that was so much easier than expected, or wow, that's it, or like, I didn't even feel that at all. So it's a tiny needle. There are several pokes. You have to spread it out well. But tiny little needle, that little vibration tool, it just helps distract. It's kind of like the white noise of like pain. And so it's a constant something that it just distracts yourself. If people are really nervous, some people really cannot get down with needles, like sweaty, clammy, apple juice. Like I have laughing gas. We can do topical numbing cream. Most of that's not needed, but I think that first time they're just pleasantly surprised. Because I always remind people, I'm like, this is not an ER. You do not, I don't want to traumatize you. We don't have to do this for no reason. It's, you're coming in here electively. Let's not make it traumatic. I try to make it as easy as possible so people don't fear when they come back.
And from my experience, and I can't speak for everyone or every nurse practitioner, but your experience was amazing. Like it was so
Thank
easy. It
you.
was so,
Yeah.
and not that I was like scared of needles I was just like, oh my God, I'm putting, the thought of like, oh, we're injecting my face. It sounds way scarier than the experience is.
Yes. It's like getting on a scary roller coaster. And then when you sign up for it, you're just along for the ride. But Second time around's easier, you know what to expect. I do have a very gentle hand too, and not to stereotype, but a lot of people that have been injected by like male plastic surgeons, like rough hand. I'm like, you don't have to be that aggressive when we're injecting someone. So I do it very easy, very gentle pressure. So yes, it's honestly a very smooth experience.
And I think, I mean, again, it for you, I feel like you do a lot of pokes because I do think you're so meticulous and it's like such tiny amounts. Like, because I've seen other people get Botox and it's like, boop, boop, they get 4 pokes and they're done. I'm like, whoa, how did you, when I swear when you did
Interesting.
it, it was like, you
I
met
think
you,
it's we injected your forehead, right? Forehead on men is always going to be a lot of pokes up here because that's a big muscle. With how I reconstitute Botox and everyone makes it differently and injects it differently, a lot of people inject more pokes than me, believe it or not. I spread it out appropriately, but some people like I've taken patients from other nurses and they're like, "Oh, like that's it." Last time they injected me so much more, but I think for someone that's never had it before, they're like, "Wow, like
yeah,
sometimes there's typically like 4 or 5 pokes between the eyebrows, 3 to 4 around the eyes, depending on how many areas. Forehead can be anywhere from 4 pokes to a man, maybe like 12, 13, depending on where we need to go. Just under the skin, like very superficial little droplets, but it does depend on the muscle and where you have movement.
yeah. So
Because
what
I
are
can't just like let some wrinkles up top be hanging. So you raise your eyebrows, everything's smooth down here and wrinkly up top. Like we do need to make sure it's like perfectly even
right,
and symmetrical.
even throughout the faces is the goal.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
are some of the other, like, rumors or myths or things that are like totally false and not true about Botox and injections and all the things that you hear?
Gosh, I feel like there's so many. I definitely want people to know it's not a one size fits all approach. So everyone has their different sweet spot. A lot of people say, I don't want to be frozen, is like, I don't want to be frozen either. That's totally fine. I think people are scared that if they start it, they can never stop it and they're going to get very carried away. That's a misconception. And it doesn't have to be like so serious, right? I think a lot of people, especially in Beverly Hills, they have all these assumptions. And I did too, right? So I'm from the Midwest. When I went into my previous office, a plastic surgery office in Beverly Hills to interview, I had so many stereotypes. I thought these people are going to be like rude, snobby, really superficial. All they care about is looks. Not the case at all. Like we have fun with it, we enjoy it, but it's not the most important thing in the world, too. And just because you're doing these treatments doesn't mean that's all you care about. It's like, believe it or not, we're a lot deeper people than what we sound like. I think there's still that box of like aesthetic procedures where they think, wow, there's no way you can do that and be like an intelligent person or be a deep person. Is like, you can absolutely do that. Our main purpose in life is not to be beautiful. Like, we want to feel confident, yes, but like, it doesn't have to be as serious or as extreme as it sounds like.
And I think it's like you're like any medical profession. You're here to help people and you're here to make them, feel comfortable and good. Yeah, it's not all just like I think you're right. There is probably a stigma of what, these people are going to be like. They're going to be stuck up. They're going to be assholes. They're going to be, I'm not pretty enough. I'm this. And it's like, no, it's everyone is like chill and cool and just wants everyone to feel their best self.
Yes, absolutely. And I do think they feel like they're going to be judged a lot, which I get it. I understand where the perceptions and the stereotypes are coming from. But that's honestly one of my favorite parts is just trying to help debunk those stereotypes and shatter those stereotypes because I know how we sound on paper in the aesthetic field and how we are in real life is not always the same. And then I think a lot of people in our industry honestly ruin it for the rest of us. They give us a bad look and a bad name. And we think, oh my gosh, this is why people are judging us because of certain people in the industry. But the rest of the people, believe it or not, are very level headed, just healthcare providers like anyone else. We just happen to work in like a fun space about cosmetic and beauty stuff. We're here to guide you. And believe it or not, with everyone being an expert on social media, like we're over here with like licensed degrees and like, by the book and we're doing it correctly. So it's just kind of comical. We actually are experts in the field, but sometimes people will just go off of like the 13 TikTok skincare products that were recommended to them and go down that route instead. And that's fine. But if you want a true expert, then you can go to like a licensed medical provider in a safe space and go from there.
So when people do these like Botox parties and they have these like I've seen where people have like girls' night and they're like someone comes, I guess, and injects everyone's face. Like, is that
Mhm.
legal? Is that like up to code? That it feels very kind of backwoods.
It definitely can be. Like I've been asked to do house calls before. You just have to check with like your medical malpractice, like your business, and see if you're covered to do that or not. I think it, I don't think the at home aspect is the most problematic or concerning. I think it's the individual that's injecting you. So we have like plastic surgery offices, we have dermatology offices. This word med spa is very confusing because you can have high-end reputable med spas with doctors and nurses and protocols and strict standards. And then you also have people that are injecting that have no idea what they're doing. So it is a big gray areas like where were you trained? Who did you train with? How many times have you been doing this? Because anyone in the middle of nowhere can go from like ER, ICU to like a Botox training, do some online thing, pay something, and then be injecting people right off the bat, but they're not an expert in that. They haven't done it for years. They haven't worked alongside someone to train with. So, I mean, I like to ask questions, and that's where I promote and encourage everyone to ask questions. I think when someone comes into the office and they don't ask any questions at all, that's a little bit concerning because you don't know what you don't know. And obviously, like there's a whole TV show correcting bad work in the aesthetic space and correcting things that shouldn't have been done in the first place. So I just think ask a lot of questions about who that person is, their background, their certification, ask about their degree, and then take it from there.
Yeah, because I think med spa, like you think med spa and you think "Oh, this is of course fancy and certified and all the things, but there is a huge gray area. For me, I would never go to someone's house if they're having a Botox party and be like, we're all gonna sip wine and get our face injected. Like, I don't care if it's $7 a unit. I'm not doing that. I want to go like. When I come see you, I walk in, there's a receptionist. It is a very
Yeah.
professional building. Your office or
Yeah.
your room is like clean and there's a professional chair and it's like it feels like a doctor's office,
Hmm.
like and
Yes.
it feels
Yes.
sterile.
Correct. Yes. Everything should be very clean. Like, I absolutely think people need to be looking for that. I think there's a certain type of person that's going to go to a Botox party for a discount that doesn't know who they're being injected by. If that's what you're signing up for, then good luck. Obviously, we have this huge number of people that are buying fake things online and it's not even real something, it's just fake. Whether that's that people are selling like fake skincare products online, fake injectables, like getting it from like China or different things like that. That's really scary because it's very scary. Any licensed person, when we do trainings, you don't just do one training and feel like, I got this, I'm ready to go. If you have a little bit of a respect for the craft, you're going to keep doing trainings and you will eventually, after injecting hundreds and hundreds of people, feel like, you know what, I got this. Like, actually know what I'm doing and I know how to do this correctly. But the people that are at home, be very particular, just be very careful.
I mean, we're not talking about buying like a fake Chanel purse from China. You're talking about
Mhm.
like a medicine that they're going to inject into your body. Like I wouldn't no, I would
Yeah.
not fuck around with that. I'm sorry. I would there's
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah. I mean, I have some patients who had major, major issues with injections at random med spas, whether they were just not licensed, they didn't know what they were doing. It's sad because some of that stuff is not very easily fixable either.
I mean, there's a reason AJ and I fly to Beverly Hills to see you. Earlier you had mentioned there was like Botox, Dysport. I think you mentioned like 5 different brands. What would make someone pick one of those? Because like I mean, I think when you did me it was Botox, but I don't. What would make someone pick
Yeah.
one versus the other?
So that's a good question. And I guess to just start with this whole social media and everyone's like an expert, and everyone has the ability to educate themselves, which is awesome. But I don't think any particular patient should be picking what they're injected with. I think that's a conversation to have with your provider. Some providers use a lot of Dysport, some providers use a lot of Botox. And so it's kind of like a painter. Like I usually paint with this brush and this type of paint, and this is how I have it very precise. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know how it's going to spread, whereas someone else might just operate in a slightly different fashion. So if you go into an expert, I would just ask them that question. Do they have a preference on this or any particular brand? I typically use more Botox. It's just what I have used longer and the majority of what I've used. I start with Botox typically, unless someone has a major preference on they've responded better with Dysport or something else before. And then if we're not getting to where we need to be with Botox, of course, we're going to adjust the dose if we need to. But if it doesn't last or doesn't work very well, I will then switch them to a Dysport and just try an alternative and see. Just like any other medication out there, like some people are going to not respond very well to one brand, they're going to respond better to something else. But I do think whether it's filler or Botox, I don't think patients or clients should feel responsible for picking exactly what is injected into them. I think they should voice what they're looking for, what their goals, what they don't want, and then hopefully their clinician will guide them through which product is best for them.
Right. Is there certain ones that are maybe different price points, and is there certain ones that are maybe last longer, or is it they all kind of similar?
They're all fairly similar. Dysport per unit is cheaper, but 3 units of Dysport equals 1 unit of Botox. So if you get Botox and then you get Dysport, the numbers are going to be just completely different. You're going to hear Dysport units and it's going to be 3 times as much. You're like, wow, that's so many units. So I always find it fascinating too when people think that's so many units. And when I ask them, like, oh, are you familiar with units? It's kind of like me going to a different country and just hearing the number of pesos or the number of whatever and be like, wow, that's so much. Is like, you don't even understand what the increment is for measuring that. So I think that's pretty impressive too. Most people in their upper face are getting usually 40 to 60 some units. So we won't let that number scare people. Daxify is one that was released in the last couple years. Their initial claim was that it was going to last significantly longer. I think we've all been a bit disappointed in the duration of that. It doesn't typically last people 6 months plus what they were claiming originally. But Daxify can be a longer lasting option depending on the person. It is more expensive though. So
Okay.
I'm like, if you don't really need to get there, if we're not having any issues, I don't think we need to spend that extra money on that more expensive product to get it to last longer. But if you're really concerned about the duration of your neurotoxin, going up on the dose will typically help it last longer, and then maybe switching to an alternative.
So, is there certain things people can do to make, their Botox last longer, or is there certain things that you do that make it, eat up quicker, like sweating or working out too much? Like, is there certain, or is that all a myth and a rumor as well?
I think a lot of it is just how your individual body metabolizes it. I do not think working out and sweating is directly impacting how quickly you metabolize your Botox. Because a lot of people say, oh, I go through it so quickly because I exercise a lot. And I just remind people like food metabolism and drug metabolism are not necessarily the same thing. If you work out a lot, you're not going to burn through Tylenol or your blood pressure medication quicker. I think it's just some of it's just variable how it lasts in the body. Definitely using a very, very low dose is going to cause it to metabolize quicker, kind of like taking one ibuprofen instead of 3 or 4. It may not work very well. It's going to go away very quickly. Some studies recently show that if you take zinc, a zinc supplement around the time of your Botox injections for like a week before and a week after, there's some evidence showing that it might last longer. I'm like, it's worth a try if you're really resistant, but it's mostly going to depend on the dose and then just how quickly your body metabolizes it.
Interesting. Yeah, because that's why I had asked too about the other products that like that more expensive one you mentioned. Because for me,
Mhm.
I obviously can't come see you. When I come see you, it's kind of random on my trips to California. So I was, curious if like one of them was lasting a bunch longer. Like maybe I would try that one next time because if I can't see you for 6 or 8 months, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we absolutely could. I think if you've had good results from Botox, I would probably stick with that. We might be able to tweak the dose a little bit, but we can absolutely try a different one too to see if it can last longer, especially with being out of town.
Or I'll try the zinc.
Yeah, yeah, zinc is easy, worth
Yeah.
a shot.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure normally I think it lasts me about like after 5 months, I feel like I started to notice like oh, it's wearing off,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
pretty
I
normal, I
think
think, right?
that's pretty normal,
Yeah.
absolutely. I do like kind of related, kind of not. I do firmly believe that the more you take care of your skin and the more that we do like laser resurfacing and build collagen overall, I think the less people will depend on Botox. Like you're not going to feel, not you specifically, but people that don't take care of their skin, if they're just trying to do Botox only, you can tell as time goes on. Like you can't just, that's not your only anti-aging tool. It's the most common. People have heard about it. It's been along for around forever. But if you're just doing Botox and not like wearing sunscreen, using all the products, we're going to be able to tell at some point. Like things aren't going to match up. So if it's just a tool in your tool shed and you're doing everything else health wise that you can, limiting sun, doing some lasers or some microneedling, I think that's the best bet for just keeping you on the right path long term.
Right. It's one tool to build your house. It's not the whole thing.
Correct. Correct.
So if people want to come and see you and they can get their
Mhm.
skin treatments and Botox and all the things, they can come see you in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
Otherwise, you
Yes.
do virtual appointments.
Yeah, so I am in an office in Beverly Hills. I offer virtual consultations, so I think that that's very easy. I ship skincare. I can help with medical grade skincare. We can just talk about your plan before you come in. So my Instagram, I just have a link in my bio for online booking. And then we do have a referral program, which is really pretty fun. So anyone that mentions you that comes into the office will get $100 off, and then we'll just take it from there.
Perfect. So I'm going to link all of that in the show notes as well. So if people want to find you, I'm going to put your Instagram and your link where they can schedule all this stuff, and I'll put the code. Do they just need to say like I heard you on It's Been a Week, or just say my name?
Yeah, they just say your name and then
Okay,
that's
great.
all it is.
So for everyone
Yeah.
listening out there, if you're ready to get your Botox and be looking younger and better, you can save $100. So like that sounds like a perfect excuse to get Botox to me.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a week. I think this was such good information. I think it really cleared a lot of I don't know, the misinformation that's out there, a lot of the myths and the rumors and like what people believe it to be. I think this was really like, wait, actually makes people maybe think about it and maybe they'll come in and get their face poked.
Yes, it's not as scary as it sounds, and we'll always start by talking through it first, so never any pressure. Thanks for having
Perfect.
me, Ben.
Thank you. This has been so good. And for everyone else, I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you for listening to that episode of It's Been a Week, but don't touch that dial because it's not over yet. Get ready for the after show. Been there, done that with AJ. Well, we're going to get AJ's take on whatever the fuck I just said. Okay. Okay. Been there, done that with AJ. Welcome back, AJ.
Hello. I have been there and done that more with Laura than you have.
I know. Well, you introduced me to her.
I love her.
She's the queen.
Yeah, I was with her originally when she was at the other place. I think that's where I introduced you. And then she moved to this new place. Jen Geyser and I met her together.
Yeah, she's great. I think she cleared up a bunch of like the room like stigmas around it because I know for a long time I was like, you don't need that in your face. I'm not putting that in my face. Just age naturally. But it really once I learned like how much of a preventative it is,
Mm-hmm.
even now when I post how to get Botox, people are always in my DMs or comments like, you don't need that. You're too young. And I'm like, listen here, Raisin, you should have had it 30 years ago.
I actually started getting it, I want to say in my 20s,
Well, that's when
late
you're supposed to.
20s, but didn't get it off. And it would last a while.
Mm.
I felt as though it would last a while. Obviously not from Laura. I didn't know her that long, but I used to get it from another amazing plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. And yeah, I got it, I think in my late 20s, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's when you're supposed to get it because you're supposed to get it like mid 20s, early 30s. when your like face is starting to get,
Yeah.
lines?
Well, honestly, like I think my face is pretty. I mean, I have lines and I'm due for Botox. I surely don't get it as much as I used to because one, we're like not there. And
It's hard to find someone, because I get that's also a scary thing, is who's going to poke your face.
yeah,
And I know it's not permanent, but still, it's a good
no,
6
it's like
months.
haircuts. Like, I mean, yeah, eventually, like if someone stops cutting hair and you got to go to someone else, or if your person moves away, or if you have a bad interaction. But like most people don't want to go bouncing around to different people to cut their hair. You find someone and you build trust. And like I definitely have that with Laura. So I think one, it's just like we're not there. And then two, when we are, it's not always like it's not like if it unless it's planned, it's not like oh, I'm gonna go get Botox because as y'all talked in the episode, there are things that you have to be conscious of after you get it, and then
Flying, party,
yeah, all
all
the
the things.
things.
Yeah.
So I think that's changed my whole, approach to it. But I'm due, and what kind of you were saying, I love when I get it because it opens up your face too. Like I have somewhat like smaller features, I guess, and so
Yeah, it can open up your eyes a little
yeah, it
bit. Yeah.
opens it up, and like
I have uneven eyebrows, so she makes my eyebrows even out.
okay,
Because like,
and you have heavy eyebrows because of
okay,
the
all right, easy.
well, it's because like your background and like the way your facial structure is, like you have a heavier brow, which is a very masculine thing. So,
Because I'm very masculine.
yeah, oh, yeah. So when she does it, like it can lift it up. So it's not like, so you're not getting all that weight covering your eyes again, and it opens
Yeah.
up your eyes.
Makes you look more awake.
Yeah.
But especially living in LA, we've seen a lot of people with bad work done.
Yeah. Well, I think like a couple things. One, you talked about that in the episode. And I like that, there's a recognition around, yes, of course, it matters who you're having it done and where you're having it done. But people come in and they say what they want. And then it's also up to the practitioner to determine if they're going to do that or not. And I love that she said, like, I don't have to, she doesn't have to do stuff if she doesn't want to do it because it is her work.
Right.
And it's her ethics. But there are other people out there that could give a shit, I'm sure, just
Well,
like
there's
anything else in life. And
people that
they're
just want money, and they're like, "You want to come in and pay for it? I'll do whatever the fuck you want."
yeah, and I think there's extreme people when it comes to everything in life, including facial like augmentation or whatever you want to call it. And they're trying to look like a Barbie doll or they're trying to look like another person. They literally are like, I want to look like Kim Kardashian.
Right.
And so then that goes into a whole other realm. And so I think, there's extremes in everything in life and in the inverse of people that don't do anything to take care of themselves and look like the raisin that you already addressed.
And I think it's addictive. It's like when you get a tattoo. After you get your first one, you want another one. You want another one. Like they're addicting.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing is people go in, you get a little bit of Botox, you're like, oh, maybe okay, next time I'll just do a little more, or maybe I'll just do a little bit of lip filler. I'm just gonna do. I think I don't think anyone walks in their first day and just goes boom, full on crazy. Like it's a slow build.
Well, I'm sure there are. There like I think Laura was kind of getting to this at one point when she was asking you about you were talking about going full on in and then stopping things or whatever. And she was like, do you do that with other stuff in life and working out and whatever? And I think that point that she's making is that in life, maybe we tend to have similar tendencies around the way that we do things. There are people that probably go in and they're like, I want it all right now because that's just how impulsive they are and how they act on a lot of ways. There are other people, like you're saying, people with tattoos and getting addicting maybe because that's how some people are, but other people, it's the fear of getting that first tattoo and then they get it and they get past this fear. And there are people that don't need any more because it's satiated like this growth inside of them. And then there are people that they were repressing something for so long out of the fear that they get it. And now they just want to go crazy, get tons of them because they've triumphed. And
I
yeah,
also think there's a psychological thing because there's a lot of people I can think of off the top of my head, which I won't name their names, but there's people that have completely changed how they look or have, you know, enhanced features so much. And it's like they're so insecure with themselves and who they are and how they look that they're just trying to change. Or like you said, be Kim Kardashian or be this person or, there's a fine line.
yeah, but because I'm me and you're you and I'm gonna do this, like, there's judgment inside of that, and I think, yes, to what you're saying, and in to what you're saying can be true. But I also think there are other people out there that wouldn't agree with you, that have had that kind of work done, that don't feel like they have self-conscious or self-confidence issues by any means, and that the expression of them doing this could come from a completely other place, right? And it could be just the fact that they have ownership of their body and they're going to do what they want to do. I have no idea. But I think that maybe the thing that I would like people to get out of this is that, like most things in life, let people just do what the fuck they want to do. If they want to go and do all this shit to their face and you think that it's an extreme, then who cares? Don't look at them. And for what it's worth, they got to look at themselves in the mirror. Maybe they don't because they don't want to, and they just don't care. And I think that we go around with way too much judgment of people. And I really love Laura because you got to this. I hope people hear it in the episode. You walk in, you feel really safe with her.
Yes.
You feel like you feel like you have someone that's knowledgeable, that cares about you, that is going to listen to you, that's going to help you make good choices. And I love that about her. And then it's whatever that relationship is that she has with that individual patient that results in what they want, that is up to them, that person. And I do love that Laura expressed her choice in doing what she wants to do is also up to her as well.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's why I love her. She's got integrity. She's a really badass person, and I think that if anyone you know me, I've tried to hook her up with friends, like people I wanted to be friends with, because I really appreciate her as a human, and I especially think when you're going to do things like this that affect your appearance, which does have a lot to do, as she talked about, with confidence, and that that affects how you show up each day when you do look at yourself in the mirror.
Right.
You gotta do it with people that are awesome like her. I mean, you laid in a few times about your thoughts on these parties that people have at their house and whatever. But you know what? Here's the reality. You
Well,
wouldn't go to a pampered chef party. You wouldn't go to a party where people are hawking
you
other
don't know
shit.
that,
I know
but
that. I
I
know
don't.
you well enough. You would not.
No, I wouldn't go to some party where people are injecting God knows what into people's faces.
I
Uh,
agree. I don't think you'd go to a lot of people's houses for these types of parties where they're trying to sell you on shit, first of all. That's why I'm just laughing so much because I don't think you do that anyways. But there are other people that do that because back to what I was just saying about Laura, they feel safe in those
oh
environments.
yeah,
And like,
she's great. When you walk in there, it's not intimidating. It's very welcoming.
yeah. But other people feel safe when they're around other people doing the same things. It's like when you got that tattoo on your wrist and that you now have had removed.
Yeah.
There was like what, 8 people that all got these tattoos, and someone got a piercing because I think there was 10 of us. And guess who was the lone man out that didn't get shit that night?
Oh, because you're so independent.
No, just because I was like, I was okay with not having to do what everyone else wanted to do. And in some ways, like that's exactly who I am.
Which,
To not do
FYI,
it just because everyone's doing it.
talking about skin lasers and skin treatments, if you ever have to get a tattoo removed, it hurts like a bitch. I
And it
had,
also costs like 10 times as much
oh
to get
my
it
God,
removed
it
than
was
it
like a
does to get it.
$75 tattoo and it cost me like $1,400 to get it removed.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
kind of
insane.
crazy.
But I used to have a tattoo on my wrist that said fuck off in AJ's handwriting, which I actually liked the tattoo. I didn't regret getting it. I just regret where I put it.
Yeah.
Only because for my auditions and when I'm doing commercial auditions, you have to show your hands. And I always have this tattoo, and it wasn't like, oh, it's a little goldfish or a zodiac sign. It said fuck off.
Back to the face stuff. Um, would you ever get filler or I guess I don't really know what else you put in your face besides Botox. Filler
I
or
don't know. I mean, I don't think I really like. I like my lips. I don't really think I
oh,
need
your lip.
filler. I mean, maybe underneath my eyes where it gets like a little sunken in.
Is that what they do, or do they like
I
cut
don't
that
know.
out or
I
something?
don't know if I'd be doing that,
There's
but
all kinds of stuff they do now.
I wouldn't be. I mean, I don't think I'm at the point where I need filler, but I wouldn't be opposed to like
Your
a little
face looks kind of full already.
bitch. I wouldn't be opposed to in the future if it was like, oh, you just need a little here and there, but I'm not going to be going fucking crazy. No.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's not even something I've discussed with her. She wants me to do other things, lasers, stuff for pigmentation, and I do need to get into that. Define.
I am going to do the microneedling.
You're gonna do
That's
microneedling.
my next.
thing to get into.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's stuff with like fine lines that I do feel with the Botox, like when you don't do it and
You notice them.
yeah, but then you also start to develop those things that you can't fix. That's the whole point. That's why doing it younger is better for the maintenance because when you like this line that's in between my eyebrows right now, like I don't normally have that, but I'm getting a little nervous that because I'm delayed so much that it becomes
Permanent.
yes, it's like she can't get it to go away. And she'll talk to you about that when you're in the treatment. Like there's certain it's like they can't just I'm sure if they put tons of stuff in there or filler or something or ways to like make you look like we're talking about these other people who make things look like there's nothing there. But obviously that's not what I want. So I feel like I'm really due because I really don't want to have a big crease.
Well, it's time for you to get in for your Botox. And for anyone else who hasn't tried it, I recommend it. I mean, if you age the way you want, but if you're young, now is the time. If you're old, it's still not too late, but better late than never. And if you're not going to do Botox, at least put some SPF on, right? Like moisturize and SPF, especially out in the sun.
People don't realize if I could be incorrect in this, but I do believe the skin is our biggest organ
Yeah.
in the body.
Take care of it.
Yeah.
All right. Put your SPF on, and I'll see you next Tuesday.